Hey guys, how you doing? It's Colin here. And so last month I got back from a 9-day trip to Iceland with my sister. And one thing I did before and even after coming back was watch YouTube videos about Iceland. A lot of people have made videos about things you should do, things you should see in that country, even things that you shouldn't do. And so I thought, as someone that's been there recently, I was going to impart some things on you guys that you should experience. So I made a list of things to experience in Iceland. And this list is for anybody that is going there in the next 2 to 3 years, or even anybody that might consider going there in the future. I'm not going to give too many examples of each thing. I'm going to keep it very broad and basic, and it's not like a top 10 list like that. It's just a list of things that I experienced in Iceland that you should also do if you are going to go there or might want to go there in the future. So here we go. First thing is food. And this goes along with any country you visit, especially in Europe. Every country has their own unique food, and Iceland is no exception. For example, the national meat there is lamb. It was phenomenal when I had it. Seafood, it's an island nation, so obviously seafood is a big deal. You're not going to find certain things like you will in America in terms of seafood. Just letting you know about that, but it's still fantastic. Ice cream's a big deal there. Yes, so try that. Speaking of lamb, their hot dogs are made from lamb, and they do them in two different ways. They have one where you can get it with a sweet ketchup, which is a ketchup with applesauce infused in, a sweet mustard, which is basically a honey mustard, and then they have raw and crispy onions, or you can just get it by itself. I got it both. I tried it both ways, and it was excellent both times. So yeah, definitely the food in Iceland. You'll want to try. You can research online. There are so many different things you can read about in terms of the food over there and just learn more about it. The next thing are cafes. And what I mean by this is it's something that has gone away in America, but something you see a lot in European countries are these cafes. And you go in there and you can sit down and enjoy the ambience of being in a cafe. It's second to none to me. Excuse me. When I went to Italy in 2017, Italy is known for creating drinks that we drink here in America nowadays: cappuccino, espresso. So there's tons of cafes in Italy. Iceland was no different. We went to a cafe in Akureyri to have breakfast there. We went to the same cafe in Borgarnes to have breakfast on a couple days, and you just get it's a different ambiance than that. You sit down, you have a cup of coffee, you have breakfast, have juice or milk or whatever, and it's quite the experience. Because obviously here in America you see Starbucks throughout the country. Well, in these European countries, I didn't see a Starbucks once in Iceland, but it, yeah, it's definitely a lot different. So yeah, I'd recommend having breakfast one time at a cafe in Iceland, or anywhere in Europe for that matter. Next is a very interesting one, but this goes especially with Iceland. Water. What do I mean by that? Well, Iceland is not like America in terms of water. You can drink it straight from the tap and not worry about chemicals. Yes, they sell bottled and things like that. They do here in America, but it's fantastic no matter how you get it. It tastes. It's the purest water that I've ever tasted in my life. It is, because you don't worry about chemicals. Fill up your water bottle straight from the tap, and it's phenomenal. And because of it, you don't have to buy plastic bottles. In fact, they don't use a lot of plastic bottles of water over there because people trust the water straight from the tap to be clean and delicious. And so, yeah, try the water in Iceland. It's some of the purest you will ever um, taste. Next thing is their currency. Um, Iceland is the second smallest country in the world to have their own currency. It's called kroners or krona, Krona. And just for an example, 1,000 kroners equals only like $7 and something in American dollars. And there's apps you can download. There's websites that I used on my phone while I was over there to give you an example of the difference between the Icelandic currency and the US dollar. And it's a big difference. It really is. It's like I said, 1,000 kroners compared to only $7 and change in American dollars. That's a big difference. So how do you experience this currency? Well, first, before you go to Iceland or any other country and use currency, you let your bank know you're going there so they don't lock your account. I did that. And then when you land at Keflavik International Airport, the only international airport, it's the main airport for that country, they have special ATMs there. Put your card in there, and then you get various amounts that you can select from. And again, if you're confused by how much money is going to come out of your bank account, download one of these apps or go to like one of these unit conversion websites where you can say ISK to USD, which is ISK is their 3-letter code for their currency, and of course USD stands for US dollars. You can get an idea of how much 8,000 kroners is compared to how much it is in US dollars. That way you know how much you're getting out of your bank account. So, but yeah, it's always fun to experience a different currency. I remember 2017 in Italy. Obviously, Italy uses euros. I still use euros. It was a nice thing to experience that type of difference in currency. So yeah, like I said, Iceland is the second smallest nation in the world to have their own currency. So I would definitely recommend taking some money out, using it, and just yeah, it's definitely a cool thing to experience another country's currency. Next are the circles in Iceland. There are 2 areas of Iceland, 2 regions that are called the Golden Circle and the Diamond Circle. The Golden Circle is the closest one to Reykjavik. However, if you look these up on Google, they're not shaped in circles. They're more like rectangles or triangles. But yeah, so with the Golden Circle, you have attractions such as the Gullfoss waterfall, the geyser and or geyser geothermal area, which is a collection of these springs that spring out of the ground, similar to the one in Yellowstone. In fact, one of them, every 5 minutes, it will explode in the air, and I took pictures of that, and it was very cool to see that. So yeah, it's basically that. Thingvellir National Park, and these are the 3 main things that you will see in the Golden Circle if you take a tour bus. You will see the Gullfoss waterfall. You will go to the geyser geothermal area, and you will go to Thingvellir National Park. And one of the waterfalls in Thingvellir, Oxarnafoss, I think that's how you pronounce it, and I didn't realize this at the time until I researched it a couple days ago, is that the trail going to that waterfall, going back to the parking area, you're actually in between the gap of the North American and Eurasian tectonic plates. And so that was pretty cool to find that out. Now with the Diamond Circle, this is more North Iceland here. This isn't close. This is the furthest one from Reykjavik, the capital. You have the Lake Mývatn area, which is a region my sister and I stayed at for 3 nights. You have the Dimmuborgir lava field, where the 13 Yule lads live, which is a Christmas folklore in Iceland. 13 days before Christmas, one Yule lad will visit a child leading up to Christmas, and they will leave them either a gift, or if they're bad, they'll get a raw potato. Yes, they don't get coal in Iceland, they get a raw potato. You have the pseudo craters. What they're called is extremely impossible for me to pronounce. I'm not going to, but it's right across from the SEL Hotel in the Mývatn area. The nature bass. These are the less known, least popular Blue Lagoon style, basically. The Blue Lagoon is the most popular geothermal slash nature bath in Iceland. Well, the Mývatn ones aren't as well known, so therefore, you're not going to get a lot of people there. So that's also in that area. And then you have Gudafoss, nicknamed the Waterfall of the Gods, and Dettifoss, which is the most powerful waterfall in all of Europe because there's so much volume of water just coming down that canyon there. Unfortunately, we were over there. The road to it was closed for multiple days, so I didn't get to experience it, unfortunately. But yeah, so you have those two waterfalls. The Ashburgi Canyon. Unfortunately, due to weather, we did not go to the canyon. We went to the visitor center. And the town of Husavik, which is mentioned in the Eurovision movie on Netflix, and also is the whale watching capital of Iceland. There's various villages and towns and cities in Iceland that offer whale watching, but Husavik, being in northern Iceland, they are the capital for whale watching. Unfortunately, we did not do that in Iceland, but it's a nice small village, small town right there by the water. The harbor is beautiful. So yeah, if you want to do whale watching, Husavik is the place to go. Next, you have the Snæfellsnes or Snafflesnes Peninsula. This is in western Iceland, just north of Reykjavik. We spent multiple days there, and it's also known as Little slash Mini Iceland. It's basically you start in Borgarnes and you just go west, and it doesn't continue onto the ring road. You branch off the ring road, but there's so many nice things there. Kirkjufell Mountain. It's known as the most photographed mountain of all of Iceland. It's in that peninsula. You have a glacier, but which is actually a volcano that's glacier capped, and because of that, it's actually snow capped. Kirkjufell Mountain was not snow capped when we were there. In fact, a good bit of mountains in Iceland you're not going to see snow or ice on. There's also Kirkjufellsfoss, which is a waterfall right across the road from the mountain, and so you have that too. Black sand beaches, interesting cliffs, beautiful blue looking water, just so many things. So I would definitely recommend in researching that peninsula in Iceland, in western Iceland. Next are black sand beaches, and these are throughout the country, not just in certain regions. Basically, because of the volcanic activity in the past in Iceland, these beaches were formed in the color of black. And as I said, almost every beach in Iceland, with the exception of a few, are black sand. And it's just such a unique thing to see because you're not going to see it here in America. You're not going to go to Florida and see black sand. You're not going to go to California and see black sand. Maybe Hawaii because of the volcanic activity on one of the islands there. But in Iceland, you're going to see black sand beaches, and it's just such a cool thing to see. So, next is a monument located in the northernmost village in Iceland, Ralfholfin. The closest village to the Arctic Circle is the Arctic Henge. And it's not even completed yet. Actually, in the hotel we stayed at is a model of what it's supposed to look like when it's completed. But you can still visit there right now, and we did. And I would definitely recommend going to the website or looking at pictures of it. Basically, it's their own version of the Stonehenge, and every structure that they build it's supposed to be built for the purpose of, how the sun comes down. It hits these dials, it hits all these different monuments, and each of them has a story behind them. I don't personally remember the story, but they each do. And so if you're in North Iceland or if you're going that direction, I know it's out of the way for a lot of people because of where it is, but yeah, I would definitely recommend checking it out if you have the possibility of going to Ralphofen. Like I said, it's the northernmost village in Iceland. Finally, the Ring Road. This is the road that traverses the entire country, also known as Route 1. And occasionally it will shut down because of snow. We, on our way to Akureyri, I didn't notice at the time, but the Ring Road, in a couple, in at least 2 to 3 occasions, will become a mountain pass. Yes, it is a mountain pass. It is not always flat. It's not like the interstates here in America that go around mountains, such as the ones in the Rockies in Colorado, where they kind of try to remain flat or and all that, or even in West Virginia. No, you're going to have to go through mountains when you're on it. A couple, like I said, 2 to 3 times on the Ring Road. It's a mountain pass, so yeah, it was quite interesting for that. That was my first experience being on a mountain pass in my life. So yeah, it was. It's not for the faint of heart, but made it through there twice. I got the pleasure of it driving through it the second time through, and yeah, so it's nothing like driving in the valley or even in the Appalachian Mountains. It's a lot different, but yeah. But again, and of course, the best way to experience this and experience most of Iceland. Rent a car. Rent a car. Go with someone else. Rent a vehicle. There's tons of car rent. There's a good bit of car rental places around the airport. That's the best way to experience these things in Iceland. Yes, tour buses are available. Like I said, if you stay in Reykjavik, you can take a tour bus to the Golden Circle. But again, you're limited. You're limited in what you can do. You're not going to go to the Arctic Henge. You're not going to see Husavik because you're going to be limited to where you can go. You're going to be limited to the Golden Circle. You might be limited to the Blue Lagoon. Rent a car. That's the last thing that I want to impart with you guys is don't go there and just take tour buses. Go there, and if you want to really experience that country, rent a vehicle. And again, so yeah, that's all I wanted to share with you guys. I hope I imparted some knowledge on to you. If you have any questions about anything, throw me a comment below, please. I'd love to hear from you guys. Again, if you plan on going to Iceland the next 2 to 3 years, or maybe are even considering about it. Oh, another fun fact real quick about Iceland. They only have 2 seasons, summer and winter. They don't, because of how close it is to the Arctic Circle, it's not a tropical climate. Even in the summer, it can be cold. So never ever underestimate the weather. The hottest it probably gets in the summer is in the 60s, which means that it can still get cold at night. So always take something warm with you, keep you warm. And again, I hope that if you guys again do plan on going to Iceland, if you do have any questions about anything that I mentioned in this video, shoot me a comment below, or if you're a friend of me on Facebook, send me a message or even comment on this shared post here. Thanks guys for watching and have a good one.